I said I was going to go on a book buying ban in my last book haul, but apparently I lied and I ended up buying / getting about 54 books. That's all. Do I regret it? Nope. Do I regret going on that book buying ban? Hell yes. Because I know. Hello people, this is Sonali, the Melodramatic Bookworm. If you've been here before, welcome back, and if you're new to my channel, then welcome to the Melodramatic Bookworm family. As you can see, I have a ton of books to show to you which I bought or got over September and October. A few books that I bought in September I've already spoken about in my last book haul. If you'd like to go check that out, then I'll leave the link here as well as in the description box below. I have 54 books that I want to share with you, so I won't be able to go into much detail about them. So what I will do is I will just make it really fast. So without further ado, let's get into this video and let me share with you all the 54 books that I got or bought in September 2020 and October 2020. So let's start with the books that I bought or got in September, and the first book that I bought in September was Anxious People by Fredrik Backman, because Fredrik Backman is love. His writing is amazing. It's empathetic, it's funny, it's human. It shows that being human isn't easy, but there are people who will understand what you are going through. So this was a must buy for me, and I did read it and I enjoyed it. By the time you see this video, a full vlog cum review for this book will be up on my channel. Next up is Stories of Your Life and Others by Ted Chiang. This is a collection of short stories, if I'm not mistaken, and this is supposed to be one of Ted Chiang's best works. I think there's also Exhalation by the same author, and that is a novel. I have no idea, but I'm really excited to read this, and I've heard from a friend of mine that this is much better than Exhalation. Hold on. Can you see it? Yeah, the cover looks stunning. Bought this along with Anxious People. Next up is a tome that was sent to me by Pan Macmillan India. I was a part of the Bookstagram tour for this amazing fast-paced science fiction book, which is called To Sleep in a Sea of Stars by Christopher Paolini. I feel like I've spoken way too much about this book over the last month or so, because every single video I feel like I've spoken about this book. Next up is Tharurosaurus by Shashi Tharoor. I did a video about this, like the 10 words that I learned from this book, and I really loved it. This is one of my 5-star reads of 2020, and it is so funny, witty, informative, it's educational, and I loved reading Shashi Tharoor's thoughts. I would highly recommend this, and I'm so glad I bought this book. Next up is One Arranged Murder by Chetan Bhagat. I read this book in... I can't even remember when I read this book, but I did read it and I found that it was not as bad as other Chetan Bhagat books. I wouldn't actively recommend this book, but if you really want to read it, then I wouldn't say, oh hell no, don't read it. Although there are characters in this who are fat phobic and extremely sexist and misogynistic. I have a full video review of this book on my channel in which I dissect the problems that this book has and what the author did right in this book. Next up is The Dragon Republic, the second in the Poppy War series by R.F. Kuang. The book still hasn't made its way to me. It's been a month and they still haven't shipped it to me. I think I'll have to email Chapter 1 bookstores again. Okay, so I know what I'm going to do after this. Next up is Undertow by Jahnavi Borua. I thought this would be shortlisted for the JCB prize, but this did not get shortlisted. Even otherwise, I'm really excited to read this. This is a short book. It's not even 200 pages. It's not even 200 pages. I can finish it if I just put my mind to it. But since my TBR is like, I'm also like. Next up is Chosen Spirits by Samit Basu. This was shortlisted for the JCB Prize 2020, and I really liked reading this book because of how a reflection of the future to come. If we are going the way we are right now, then the future is going to be like the author has mentioned in here, and it is scary as hell. Like the author has so very kindly projected the future and told us about it in this book. Next up is The Great Garden by Meg Grossoff. and I really liked reading this book. This is an exploration of human nature and how facades work. People are not always what they seem to be, and there's a lot of gaslighting as well in this book. And I did not want to use such a strong word, but it is what it is. I read it for the 48-hour readathon that I hosted earlier in October. This was very kindly sent to me by Bloomsbury India. Thank you, Bloomsbury, for the amazing book. Next up is another JCB Prize 2020 shortlisted book, and that is Mustache by S. Harish and translated into English by Jayashree Kalathil. This was originally written in Malayalam by S. Harish, and I did not like this book. Like, I think it's the translation that takes away the essence of what is there in the original language. I'm not saying Jayashree Kalathil's translation was wrong. It just did not sit well with me. I found that the writing was a bit rather too clunky for me. Next up is another JCB Prize shortlist, and that is Prelude to a Riot by Annie Zaidi. This is hard-hitting. The atmosphere in this book shows that it is Kerala, but it's not really mentioned which state it is, but it shows how thinking can be, how it can change, and how it can affect people. And it's literally a build up to a riot. That does not happen in this book, but it is literally a build up to a riot, and it slapped me in the face. That's all I'm going to say. Next up is another JCB Prize shortlist, and that is Gin Patrol on the Purple Line by Deepa Anapara. I haven't read this book as of filming this video, but I will read it and I will put up a review video of all the JCB Prize shortlist books. So if you'd like to check that out, please do. It's already up on my channel, if I'm not mistaken. By the time this video goes up, it will already be up, and the winner will also have been announced. Next up is These Are Bodies Possessed by Light by Dharini Bhaskar, and I'm reading this as of the day of filming this video, and I am loving this book. I mean, this is the only book of the JCB Prize shortlisted books so far that I have read that I absolutely loved. I mean, I liked Prelude to a Riot. I enjoyed reading it, but this is something else. It's beautiful. It's amazing so far, at least, and I hope that it stays that way. Just look at the cover. And you know what? I even love the book without the dust jacket because of this color. I like how fresh that is. Next up is a Kindle ebook called The Book of Lost Friends by Lisa Wingate. In my October TBR video, I mentioned that this book was supposed to be the Drama Queen-a-thon book club pick for October, but that did not happen because 2 other books got picked. And this was I just bought it and I forgot it, but it's still on my TBR, so I'm going to just let it be that way. I have no idea what that book is about. I might have read the blurb, or I might not have. I don't know, I can't remember. Next up is Death on the Nile by Agatha Christie. As if you remember, I had mentioned that I am in love with these facsimile editions, and I have made it my life's ambition to collect all of these in addition to the Penguin cloth-bound editions of the other classics. And I bought this in anticipation of the movie's release, but that is, I think it's going to be delayed a bit because of COVID-19. But I will be reading this, I hope in December. But as we know, Agatha Christie is the queen of crime, and this is literally Death on the Nile and an Hercule Poirot mystery and how he solves it, and I feel like I already love this book for some reason. Next up is a Matt Haig book, and How to Stop Time by Matt Haig, and the answer to this question is read a Matt Haig book. Bought How to Stop Time, and this is a hardcover, and I am in love with this hardcover. I can't wait to get started on this. I feel like December is going to be 1 month in which I'm just going to not participate in anything else, and my readathon is only going to be this read whatever you like kind of thing. Anyway, this also has illustrations by Chris Riddell, and it's look at it. Can you fall in love with an illustration? I think you can, because I just did. Next up is Coraline by Neil Gaiman. I wanted to read this for October, the Halloween spooky kind of thing, but I never got around to reading it. But Neil Gaiman is amazing, as we all know. I loved The Graveyard Book. I loved The Sleeper and the Spindle. I was not a huge fan of American Gods, but since I loved The Graveyard Book so much, I feel like this is also going to be a book that I really will enjoy. So I'm hoping that actually happens. Next up is an arc that I got from NetGalley, and that book is Ritovech Chandni by Ameya Narwankar. I've read it and I've reviewed it in October, in the first part of October, and I loved it. I love how amazing, how pure, how beautiful. The illustrations are amazing. The story is amazing. It's a very short book. It has about 30-35 pages something, and I absolutely loved reading it. Everybody must read it. If you get a chance, then please do go and read that book. It releases in December, I think. Okay, so now on to the October books, the books I bought or got in October. So now the first book, it was such a huge surprise when this first book came to me, and I am really grateful to Niyati from the Bookshare on Instagram for sending this late birthday gift to me, and I can't even. The book is Solitaire by Alice Oseman. We read Radio Silence in June and we loved it so much. I'm a fan of Alice Oseman's writing, how fresh, how simple, how amazing it is, and I cannot wait to start reading this. This is about Tori Spring, who likes to sleep and who likes to blog. Last year I had Friends. Things were very different, I guess, but that's all over now. Now there's Solitaire. And Michael Holden. I don't know what Solitaire are trying to do, and I don't care about Michael Holden. I really don't. Okay. Alice Oseman. Next up is a book that I won in a giveaway on Facebook, and that is The Karachi Deception by Shatrajit Nath. And I have been wanting to read his works for a long time, but I have never been able to because of the monstrous TBR. I did go and buy 3 of his other books on Kindle, which I will talk about later in this video. I won it and I am so happy because I've heard a lot of good things about this book. I've heard that this is fast paced, this is very well written, and that's all I really need for a book to be. Next up is Slices of Life by Mrinalini Dabke. Thank you to the author for sending me a copy of this book. I really enjoyed reading it. I have a full video review of this book on my channel. If you'd like to go check that out, I leave a link in the description box below. Please do go check it out and please show this author more love. It's a wonderful book. It's very short. I think it's about 50 odd pages and you'll like it. Next up is Essential Items and Other Tales from a Land in Lockdown by Udayan Mukherjee. Thank you Bloomsbury for sending this my way. I'm really intrigued by what this is about. This is, I don't have to explain much. This is tales about a land in lockdown and about people and about how they move and how it has affected our country, and that's all I can say. They also sent me a little postcard. Next up are 2 books sent to me by Pan Macmillan India, and I'm so happy to receive them. I can't even tell you. Okay, first of all, keep in mind the covers are absolutely gorgeous. The first one is The Heart Asks Pleasure First by Karuna Izara Parikh. Just look at this cover. I'm not going to say anything else. I fell for this book. I loved it so much. I love the cover so much, and I can't even, I somehow have a feeling that I'm going to love this book as well, but that's a lot of expectation, so let's not put it on the book. It's not fair. This is one. Thank you Pan Macmillan India for sending this my way, and I am really grateful, and I promise that I will get a review up sooner than soon. And the second book that Pan Macmillan India sent to me was a complete surprise, and I am so happy. Thank you Pan Macmillan India once again. And the book in question is Before She Sleeps by Beena Shah. This is Oh, this has been blurbed by Margaret Atwood, Publishers Weekly, and Los Angeles Times. The government uses terror and technological surveillance to control its people, and women must take multiple husbands to have children as quickly as possible. Okay, like, I'm done and I am really excited to read this. I say that about every book, no? Like, I don't know what else to say. Next up are 4 books that I ordered from, where did I order this from? Flipkart from the Big Billion Days sale, and only 3 have made their way home as of today, but I'll talk to you about all 4. The first book is Mythos by Stephen Fry. This is about Greek mythology, and I think that's all I'm going to say at the moment. But Stephen Fry is funny, he's humorous, he's witty, and I really love his narration. So hopefully if I find an audiobook of this book on Storytel, then I will read this while I listen to his narration, because he's amazing. Next is A Gentleman in Moscow by Amor Towles. I actually have an ebook of this book, but I was getting it at a very reasonable price, so I thought, why not get it? Count Alexander Rostov, recipient of the Order of St. Andrew, member of the Jockey Club, blah 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 blah, is escorted out of the Kremlin, across Red Square, and through the elegant revolving doors of the Hotel Metropole. Okay, apparently it's everything a novel should be: charming, witty, poetic, and generous, and that's what I live for, as you all know. So yes, this is another one that I got from the Flipkart sale. Third book is Kuli by Mulkraj Anand. This is a classic in Indian literary circles, and I have never read Mulkraj Anand before, so I thought this is a good time to buy a book of his and then start reading it. Munu, a young boy, is forced to leave his village in the hills to fend for himself in the wider world. His journey takes him far from home to the chaos of towns and cities, to Bombay and Simla, where he must endure many indignities as servant, factory worker, and rickshaw driver, while also struggling to find his own bearings. And the fourth book that I ordered from Flipkart was The Namesake by Jhumpa Lahiri. I already have an ebook, but I thought the physical copy was so good, so beautiful, that I had to get it, and I got it for less than 150 rupees. I think it was pretty cheap, so I got it. It's yet to come home though. It will be here in 4 or 5 days if I'm not mistaken. Next up is The Guest List by Lucy Foley. This is a thriller, I think, murder mystery, I think. The setting is spectacular, the atmosphere alive, but as the guests toast the golden couple, dark secrets begin to spill, and the wedding cake has barely been cut when someone is found dead. It's a murder mystery, and I've heard very mixed reviews about this book, but I feel like I am going to enjoy reading it for some weird reason. I have that intuition in my head, and I had been obsessing over buying this book for a long time before I was like, chuck it, I'm going to buy, and I bought it. Next is Madhushala by Harivansh Rai Bachchan. I have never read Harivansh Rai Bachchan's books before, and I've heard that he was a beautiful poet. And that's all I think I need to really say. This is a very short book, and I got it for a very pretty cheap price, and I thought maybe this would be a great time to start reading Harivansh Rai Bachchan's books. This is not a translation, this is original in Hindi, and I need a lot of patience to read that because of how heavy it's going to be. I feel that it's going to be heavy for some reason. Next up are a bunch of ebooks that I got in the Great Indian Festival, I think, on Amazon, and I got them at very cheap prices. And the first one is The 12-Week Fitness Project by Rujita Divekar. I read her book Don't Lose Your Mind, Lose Your Weight, I think a couple of years ago, and I really liked how she put such important things in such simple terms. So I thought this 12-week fitness project, it would be a good idea for me to start reading it and get back into the prime of health, get back into shape, and streamline my life in a way that it is healthy in the long term and not just for the time being. Next is Kim Jeong, born 1982 by Cho Nam-joo and Jamie Chang, and this has also been a book that I have been obsessing over, and finally the Kindle price fell down to about 49 rupees, so I thought, okay, I'm not really sure what exactly this is about. This is about a character named Kim Jeong, if I'm not mistaken. I think it is pretty, obvious from the title, but I've got to speculate, right? Next is Catalyst, The Ultimate Strategies on How to Win at Work and in Life by Chandramouli Venkatesan. I read Getting Better by this author in 2019, and I really loved reading it because of how level-headed, how sane the author's tips and tricks on how to make life better were. So I thought buying this book and reading it would also help me organize my life better, my work life better. So that's the hope. That's what made me buy this book. Next is Lihaf by Ismat Chughtai, and I've heard a lot about Ismat Chughtai's writing and that it's beautiful, atmospheric and just emotional. So I'm hoping that this will make me emotional, and that's my whole agenda, my whole funda with books. Next is My Man Jeeves by PG Wodehouse. You know how much I love PG Wodehouse. He always makes me crack up, and Jeeves's dry wit and humor are my absolute favorite, and I love him. And I feel like PG Wodehouse books always offer me that escape from reality and that tummy rumbling laugh that emerges from you. That's PG Wodehouse for you. Next is Cracking the Code, My Journey in Bollywood by Ayushmann Khurrana and Tahira Kashyap. This is Ayushmann Khurrana's autobiography, memoir kind of thing, but I love Ayushmann Khurrana because of how he chooses his movies. He always chooses something which has something different in it. He doesn't go for the pot boiler, the normal action kind of movies. There's nothing wrong with those per se, but he does that social commentary kind of thing, which I really love, and I am really excited to read his story. I think Tahira Kashyap helped him write the book, and I'm really excited to read it because I've heard that she is an amazing writer as well. So next up is another Matt Haig book, which is the Drama Queenathon book club pick for the month of November, and that is The Humans, and I am really excited to read it. And I don't know what else I can say about this book except that it's written by Matt Haig, so it obviously automatically has my heart. That's all I'm going to say, and you can hear me gush about this in my November wrap up. I have a lot of work to do actually. I don't know why I reminded that maybe because I'm human. Next up is I'll Give You the Sun by Janie Nelson. I have heard a lot of good things about this book, and as you know, I don't read blurbs as much as I would like to, but even if I do read it, I just forget about them, so I'm going to read this. New York Times bestseller. Why did I read that? I have no idea. Jude and her twin Noah are close until a tragedy drives them apart. Now they are barely speaking and both falling for boys they can't have. Love is complicated. Next up is another Hindi book, and that is Chaurasi by Satya Vyas. I think I saw a review video of this book on Shalu Walia's channel. You should go check her out. She makes book related videos and she will make you want to pick a book up, and she will give all the details about a book in such an amazingly crisp manner, and I love her videos. You should go check her out. I'm saying it again, but I saw this on her channel, and since then I've been obsessed with getting this book, but I finally got it and I hope I will be able to read this soon, probably in December, who knows. Next is a book that I'm so excited about, and I don't even care that I splurged on this book, and that is The Girl and the Goddess by Nikita Gill. As you know, Nikita is one of my favorite authors of all time. I love her writing. I absolutely love her writing, and I cannot tell you how much I love her writing. Like, it makes me feel things, and every single time, there's no Nikita Gill books that's not made me think that, oh wow. Her newest book, when I saw that this was not available in India, that on the day that it released, I was like so heartbroken. I went and cried about it on Twitter. I cried about it in private. I did that whole thing. And then when I saw that the hardcover for this was at a very reasonable price for new releases, for global new releases, I'm like, okay, I'm going to splurge, and I went and bought it. I feel like this is going to take a while because I need to soak in all the words. I'm talking way too much, but yeah. Next up is a book that I got from a fellow booktuber. She was unhauling this book, and I have been wanting to read this, so I thought I'll get it. And the book is Monday's Not Coming by Tiffany D. Jackson, and this is The story of how my best friend disappeared, how nobody noticed she was gone except me, and how nobody cared until they found her 1 year later. And I don't think I need to say anything else, and that I'm really excited to read it. That's all. Next are 2 books that I got from the Delight bookstore on Instagram, and those books are Norwegian Wood by Haruki Murakami and Persuasion by Jane Austen. I really love this edition. It's so small, it's so sweet. The font is a little small for my liking, but it's not as tiny as I hate it. But I really love this edition. And this one is a classic vintage books edition, so I have no complaints about it. And you know how much I love Haruki Murakami, especially because of how absurd his stories are. And then there are 5 books that I got from a fellow booktuber, Nika from Pretty Little Bibliophile. She makes some amazing videos. You go check her channel out, guys. I promise you, you will love her videos because of how well put together she is and the variety of videos that she makes. You should go check Nika's channel out. She is amazing. And I bought 5 books off of her. One is Kingdom of Ash, the 7th in the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas, because I have the first 6 books and the prequel, and I didn't have Kingdom of Ash, and she was unhauling it, so I was like, okay, I'm going to take it off of you. The second one is The Miniaturist by Jessie Burton. This book hasn't gotten a lot of good reviews, but I am really intrigued by what it is about, and I really wanted to read it, so I was like, it's okay, I'm there, no? I will take care of it. Then there's We Were Liars by E. Lockhart, and this book has been on my wish list for ages now, and even though I've heard pretty mixed reviews about it, I don't know why, but I have a feeling that I will be able to enjoy this book. Then The Near Witch by V.E. Schwab. This is V.E. Schwab's first book, I think, the first ever book that she wrote, but which they re-released in a new edition earlier this year or last year, I can't remember when. So I thought, what better way to start reading V.E. Schwab than The Near Witch? So I got it off of Nika, and I don't know if I will be reading it anytime soon, but I sure hope so. Next up is Hex by Rebecca Dynastine Knight, and I have no idea what this book is about, except that maybe it's about hexes and witches. Who knows? I don't know. I really don't know. I know I'm just speculating, but still, I had my eye on this book, but now I have it, and now I'm really excited to read it. I don't know when I'll be reading it. Haha. Next up are the 3 books by Shatrujit Nas that I mentioned earlier, and they are the first 3 in the Vikramaditya Veergatha series, the 4th of which is coming in December, I think. The first one is The Guardians of the Halahala, the second is The Conspiracy at Meru, and the third is The Vengeance of Indra. And if you are going to go by the reviews on Goodreads, you will just see that people absolutely love this series, and I am like, it was on your wish list, Nason. Why didn't you read it? And then we ordered 3 books while on break, and the first one is Hood Feminism by Mickey Kendall, Notes from the Women White Feminists Forgot. Elizabeth Gilbert has blurbed this, and Gabriel Union, and Fatima Bhutto, and Samantha Irby. Mickey Kendall is calling out white feminists here, and it's long overdue that we drop our defenses, listen to her arguments carefully, and then change our entire way of thinking and behaving. That's what Elizabeth Gilbert says. And I don't think I need to say anything else. Notes from the Women White Feminists Forgot, because white feminism caters to white women. But feminism is a lot more complicated than that. So I'm just hoping that this is going to be an eye-opener. Next is Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds and illustrated by Chris Priestley. As of today, I have 2 books called Long Way Down on my TBR. One is this, and one is the book by Ewan McGregor and Charlie Boorman. This is a novel in verse, I think, and you know how much I love novels in verse. Example, Elizabeth Acevedo. I love her writing. But yeah, I really had wanted to read this book for a long time. If someone you love gets killed, find the person who killed them and kill them. No crying, no snitching, get revenge. Okay. And the last book on this book haul is Without Merit by Colleen Hoover. And you know how much I love Colleen Hoover. I cry in every single book that she writes, and I feel like this is also going to be a book that's going to like shake me to my core, and I'm absolutely down for it. Okay, so that was my latest book haul. These are all the books plus the Kindle ebooks that I'd spoken about that I got in September and October 2020. Which of these have you read? Which ones do you want to read? Which ones are on your TBR? Which ones are on your wish list? Which ones do you want me to pick up immediately? Which ones that I have already read that you want to read? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. If you like this video, please like it and share it to spread the word. And if you like my content and would like to see more from me, don't forget to hit subscribe and click on the bell icon beside the subscribe button to get notified as and when I post new videos. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Until next time, keep reading, keep watching, and add melodrama to your life.